Hello everyone, I'm Darrell Steinberg, your mayor. I hope you're all safe and doing well tonight. This is my 5th video broadcast to update you on what's happening and coming down the road as we work together to stop the spread of COVID-19. I'm also using this time with you each night to share resources and good news about how people are coping and helping each other in this strange and difficult period. Here is the sobering news today. The United States now has 161,580 cases. That is an increase of more than 18,000 in just one day. Nearly 3,000 people have died. As of today, California had 6,895 confirmed cases and 142 deaths. Sacramento had 224 confirmed cases, up from several days ago, and 7 fatalities. These are sobering numbers, and they underscore the seriousness of what we are facing. The number of fatalities in California has risen by nearly 70% since just Friday. We must continue maintaining our physical distance from one another, no matter how badly we want to provide comfort. I don't like the term social distancing because I think we are finding ways to socialize and communicate despite the physical distance that we must maintain. But we must also maintain that physical distance and wash our hands immediately after touching a shared surface. Our county's emergency order to stay home is technically scheduled to be lifted on April 8th, but we all know by now that it's going to take much longer than that for us to come out on the other side of this public health crisis. The peak here in Sacramento is likely several weeks away at least. But there is some reason to hope we can avoid seeing our hospitals overwhelmed like they are in New York, where more than 1,000 people have died. First of all, we implemented our stay-at-home order relatively early in the spread of the disease. The state and county orders were issued on March 19th, when 19 people had died in California. New York State did not impose a similar order until March 22nd, when 99 people had died. Italy did not require physical distancing until 827 people had died. Our county health officer, Peter Beelan, said this early action improves, it doesn't guarantee, but it improves our chances of lessening the eventual surge of cases. We have delayed the onset of the potential surge in such a significant way that Dr. Beelanson estimates that we have the additional capacity now of 1 full hospital. Despite that good news, we are still working with the state to identify other potential sites for hospital beds for 2 reasons. Number 1, we may in fact have the surge that we hope will not happen, and we may need the extra beds here in Sacramento County. But secondly, we need the extra beds because it is our responsibility as Sacramentans to make sure that we are providing aid and comfort to communities from throughout California who in fact experience the terrible surge, and the health system needs the extra capacity and extra beds to take care of our fellow Californians. I promise you we are working very closely with the state and with some private parties on these very issues in real time, and we will keep you fully updated. I think we need, so let me, there we go. I'm sorry, getting to the bottom here. As we endure the shutdown, the city and its community partners have been working on many fronts to lessen the impact of our most vulnerable residents. Today, the DonateForSacramento.org relief effort, created just a week ago, announced that it had raised more than $600,000 and would make its first distribution of nearly $263,000 to community partners like the United Way and Sacramento Steps Forward and the Regional Foundation and the Sacramento Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce, which will then put the money directly to work helping organizations, businesses, and people who need it. About $170,000 of that money will go to the Sacramento Food Bank to buy groceries for 1,380 of our city's neediest families. These families are among those who have still been picking up free breakfast and lunch for their children from sites run by the Sacramento City Unified School District. The district has stepped up in a major way to help ensure that kids are fed while schools are closed. Last Friday, the district had distributed 31,000 meals. Thank you to Diana Flores and her entire team for the Herculean work that you are doing in our community. And yet, as they have been passing out these meals, it has become clear that some of the families of the kids do not have enough food for the adults in their household and have been sharing the kids' breakfasts and lunches. So for the next 8 weeks, the $170,000 that I mentioned earlier will go to the food bank to buy additional food, and that food will then be distributed to the neediest families. They will be receiving 2 bags of groceries once a week when they pick up the breakfast and lunches for their kids. That's again 1,380 families. That's a big deal. It should make them feel a little bit better, a little bit safer, a little bit more comfortable during this really, really hard time. And it's a chance for me to pitch the importance of continuing to donate to the Donate for Sacramento Fund. We have had 600 contributors. We've raised $600,000. The more money we raise, the more families we can serve, like the Sac City families I mentioned a moment ago. Food insecurity, of course, is also a problem for many of our low-income seniors who now cannot leave their homes. So tomorrow, we are going to launch a program funded with about $175,000 in fines collected from illegal cannabis grows. The money will be used to pay 5 of our local restaurants, Mulvaney's, Cannon, Alora, Camden, and Pinchowski. Try saying that 5 times. To create boxes of prepared meals with enough food to last 4 or 5 days. The boxes will cost the city $30 each and will be delivered each week for free to 725 seniors in 11 low-income apartment complexes. Paratransit, which has stepped up big time, which is our public transit system for people with special needs and seniors, they and their drivers will deliver the boxes. Thank you to Paratransit. The restaurant will then use the money to pay their employees and will continue to buy the produce from our area farms. Man, are these great examples of the Sacramento spirit and of Sacramentans working together? Think about all of the different stakeholders and players who are coming together to meet an incredible human need, to feed people, and at the same time, to make sure that we keep as many of our restaurant employees employed. It's these creative partnerships, and there's so many more that are great examples of how Sacramento is pulling together to get through this. I hope to have good news to share later this week on our strategy. And by the way, it's a joint strategy with the county and with Sacramento Steps Forward for getting homeless people off the streets and into hotels and motels. Our goal is to get 1,800 people indoors as quickly as possible. More in the weeks ahead. In the days ahead as well, I want to brief you on all of the other categories of need that are out there and what your city and its community are doing to step up to help people, from childcare to the creative economy to the federal stimulus and what it actually means to our community, because it's going to mean a lot, to education, to public safety, to all of the other issues and people that are being strained but are elevating their games in ways that are helping our community. There's some incredible stories out there, and we will continue to help them. I want to do 2 things in signing off. One is every night to thank our first responders and our healthcare workers, especially tonight our healthcare workers who throughout the state and country are working unbelievable hours under the most stressful circumstances, because in some places they know what's coming, and in other places the surge has already come. Everyone on the front lines of our coronavirus response. I also want to thank the people who continue to volunteer in a time when their help is so badly needed including those today I saw who are packing food with smiles on their faces at the food bank today. Tomorrow is Cesar Chavez Day, and I would urge you all to celebrate by being of service to others in some way. Call some friends who you know may be lonely. Volunteer, send some money, do something that creates a smile for someone else. You know, I was thinking a lot about Cesar Chavez and about the sacrifices that he made for the farm workers of California. And it reminds me, as I love to read about all chapters of American and world history, of all the times in history when people faced horrible wars, natural disasters, and other things that were so beyond their control and that created a sense of worry, a sense of alarm, and a wonder whether or not their country, their community, and the world might actually survive. And in reading all that history, what you realize is that there were some chapters that were more devastating than others. But in each of those chapters, people stepped up and did things that were out of the ordinary. And in most of the chapters of history, the countries, the states, the communities have overcome, they've rebuilt, they've found ways to change lives for the better. And so maybe, in fact, more than maybe, this is our moment in history. I've never been called upon to fight in a war. Thank God that we have men and women who do volunteer to defend this country even today. But I hope that what we are doing in real time as Sacramentans, as Californians, as Americans, as citizens of the world, that 20, 30, 50, and 100 years from now, people will look back and say, this was a most difficult time, but we as a human race rose to the occasion. I'm very proud of Sacramento. Be safe. Stay home. We'll get through this together. I'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Thank you very much.